Thank you very much, dear Jennifer, President von der Leyen, dear Ursula, dear Deputy Prime Ministers, dear Manje and Van den Broeke, dear Enrico Letta, dear Oliver Repke, dear Commissioner, partners, dear guests. Let me start by thanking Prime Minister De Croo and the Belgian presidency for organising this important conference. I found a different adjective. The strong commitment we see today proves that social progress was, is and will remain very much a priority in our political and legislative work. The last years have not been easy. The pandemic, the invasion of Ukraine, the energy crisis, the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, inflation and loss of purchasing power, framed in the context of the ongoing climate emergency, have all had their impacts on our societies and on our ability to level up our communities and address historic intergenerational inequalities. We need to do better. Our union must work for people, and 50 days before an election, we need to say that more and say it louder. The changing world around us leaves no room for a return to the status quo. It means building a new, more resilient Europe with internal solidarity at its core. And at the heart of this is a European economy that is innovative, that is sustainable, and that works for all, that leaves no one behind, that allows all your communities to reach their potential. Now, to do that, we do not need to be making any trade-offs or balancing acts between economic competitiveness and social progress. Our European model of social market economies is uniquely suited to enable both. While embracing new technologies, innovative production models and globalization, we must ensure that people have access to high-quality jobs, social rights, and a life of dignity. That is why the EU social market economy is a global beacon. That is the European way. Of course, that is not to say that we have gotten all the ways it right, or that more cannot be done. For the past months, we have been visiting member states alongside many of my colleague members of the European Parliament who are here with us today to listen to people, especially young people's concerns, challenges and expectations ahead of the European elections in June. They talk to us about their difficulties in finding quality jobs and affordable housing. They talk about the distance between what laws have passed in the European Parliament on work-life balance, on gender equality, and their everyday reality. They are angry that women still earn less than men for the same job. They are upset that it is still harder for girls than it is for boys. In too many places, they are still forced to feel scared to say that they belong to our LGBTIQ communities. They speak about the impact that the pandemic has left on their mental health, about the challenges that our digital society presents them, AI, in the world of work and in how communities interact with each other, about their doubt of ever being able to afford their own home, about how lonely they feel despite being the most connected generation in history. They are not asking for the impossible. They are asking for Europe to live up to its promise to its people. It is not too much to ask, and it cannot be too much to deliver. We speak with too many families who have two jobs but still live paycheck to paycheck. People who spent years studying or honing new skills but still cannot find high-quality jobs. Parents, mothers in particular, who are faced with a catch-22 situation of being unable to afford to go to work because they do not have access to adequate childcare. We speak with pensioners who are afraid of increasing poverty amongst the elderly and sustainability of our pension systems, those who should have the right to dignity. 1 in 5 people are at risk of poverty or social exclusion in the European Union. In every member state, the share is higher for females than for males. It is no surprise then that in the last Eurobarometer survey, Europeans have asked us to prioritise the fight against poverty and social exclusion. All indications show that in the next Eurobarometer survey that will be published tomorrow, these issues, among also with health, remain at the very top of our citizens' concerns. The farmer demonstrations have been yet another stark example of where we did not meet the needs and expectations of our people from both an economic and social perspective. As someone once put it to me, it is as if there is an invisible line that people cannot be pushed beyond. People must have confidence in our policies, in the transitions that we are making, and they must be able to afford them. Otherwise, they will not succeed. That is what we mean when we say that the green transition, as much as it must be climate ambitious, it must also be just with member states and regions alike, just with businesses, with industry, with families, with people, just in a way that ensures no one is left behind. And this is where the crucial role of social dialogue comes in, which is not just a cornerstone of our social market economy, but something that is essential to our democratic society. At both member states and European level, it serves as a platform for constructive interaction between governments, between employers and trade unions, facilitating consensus building and policy making. Through dialogue, different stakeholders negotiate labour standards, working conditions, and social protection measures, promoting fair and inclusive societies. And for social dialogue to function properly, it is critical that social partners be autonomous. This key feature is what has distinguished and will continue to distinguish Europe from all other global actors. It is this feature which will guarantee the long-term resilience of Europe's social market economy. There are already strong foundations in the form of a broad social acquis framework, which, while setting out basic principles, guides, complements, and coordinates member states' legislation and policies. It is crucial to remember that delivering on the European pillar of social rights, this remains a shared political commitment and responsibility, and it should be implemented at both a union and member state level within their respective competences, taking due account of different socio-economic environments, diversity of national systems, including the role of social partners. For this, I'm very proud to say that the European Parliament never shied away throughout this legislature from taking the most important of decisions. In fact, in this legislature alone, we managed to enact a number of groundbreaking pieces of legislation with the aim of increasing socio-economic equality. Directive of adequate minimum wages and the new rules on equal pay for equal work. Next week, we will vote on platform work. The European Parliament has also been hard at work in the fight against poverty, especially child poverty, and in promoting the inclusion of persons with disabilities into our economies and societies. We will soon have a European-wide disability card, something needed and welcome, but which took far too long for us to deliver. Now, the European Parliament understands that if we succeed in strengthening social partnerships in member states and at an EU level, we will not only be investing in a resilient and robust economy that works for all, but we can also eliminate the need for more top-down, one-size-fits-all regulatory attempts. Ladies and gentlemen, the next steps will be defined on how better able we are to boost Europe's competitiveness through a well-functioning internal market and higher productivity based on innovation, skills, knowledge, and fairness. A competitive, sustainable and inclusive economy with a high level of quality employment, coupled with social safety nets. This is the basis for the European economic and social model, which also contributes to better economic and social convergence. That is how we can continue to build a stronger European economy while promoting the well-being of European societies and strengthening the social dimension of the European Union and the fabric of our communities. That is why I'm grateful to be here with you today, not to just commit, but for us all to do just that. Thank you very much.